Well, Albert Park in Melbourne is hosting the first Grand Prix of the 2026 Formula One season, and there are way more questions than answers as we head into this Formula One season. Now, to talk about the complexities, we have roped in friends of Morning Live, particularly the sports, and that is Formula One Analyst Lufefe Mayekiso. Alongside him, joining us virtually this morning, we have another Formula One analyst, and Sasha Martinengo. Gentlemen, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Lufefe, I want to start with you because you're here with me in studio. What is happening at Aston Martin? Because as far as we were all concerned, it was just the dream matchup of Fernando Alonso and Adrian Newey, who was supposed to just be the headline act this season. But it seems like every time the wheels turn on that Aston Martin, it's just falling apart.
Good morning, Vusiwe, to you and your viewers, and thank you for having us. Happy New Year. No one knows. I mean, there's, like you said, there's more questions than answers. But they've said that they're probably going to run 25 laps maximum at the race on Sunday because the car is just not working. It doesn't make sense, but maybe they've got that new power unit from Honda, and that might have something to do with it because last season they were using the Mercedes power unit. I don't know, but I'm sure they're going to find answers with the pedigree of the likes of Adrian Newey in that team as team principal.
Okay, and of course with the continuation as well of the season that gets underway this weekend. Sasha, let's bring you into the conversation. A very good morning to you. Let's talk about Ferrari, because they seem like a team that is contending and may win a couple of races this season, perhaps even the title. And you have a Lewis Hamilton that also looks so much happier this time around. Do you think it's because he's finally in a car that he feels can compete?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about Lewis Hamilton, and good morning to everybody as well. Lewis he seems like a different kind of person this season. He seems to be quite relaxed and calm. In pre-season testing, which was difficult to analyze, the Ferrari was very, very reliable, which I think is very, very important for these new regulations. But also, just looking at the cars from earlier this morning in free practice one, the cars look amazing. They look like Formula One cars. They're smaller, they're quirkier, they look a little bit more difficult to drive. So, you know, all of this clickbait that we've had over the last 2 months, you know, please, people, don't believe everything you read on the interwebs. Not all of it is true. So I think Ferrari, yes, I think are looking pretty decent, but they probably have to watch out for teams like Mercedes-Benz and McLaren, and of course then the Max Factor and Red Bull. So I think those would be your top four at present. And desperate times, unfortunately, for Aston Martin, a complete disaster. And it's going to take a long time for them to fix this.
What a turn of events from last season. Let's then talk about Lufefe. With the new rule change this season, it does seem like the team that wins that development race in terms of the car will likely win the title. Would you say you agree with that? Because at the moment, it doesn't seem like any of the cars are just driving away into the distance.
Well, as Sasha has alluded to, Mercedes have been said to be the pre-season favorites. Apparently, they have the most powerful power unit. So I think their development, because they started working on their car as early as April last year, focused on 2026 regs. So definitely, I think I agree with you there to say, you know, the earlier you start, the more likely you are to be ahead of the curve. I mean, if you look at Audi as well, I mean, it's their first year in F1 ever after buying Sauber. And they were in the top 10 in FP1 this morning and look good in pre-season testing as well.
Speaking about FP1, I mean, Lufefe was here on his phone this entire morning before the interview started. Sasha, let me come back to you. We've heard now Lewis Hamilton once again speaking about the need for a Formula One race in the African continent. Certainly something he'd like to do before he retires. What are your thoughts on this once again? Are we getting closer to having an African Formula One? Or at this stage, is it just more of lip service coming through from all those that are involved? Or could we potentially see it happening?
Well, I was listening to Minister Gayton McKenzie the other day, and he said the guarantees are all there, and then they've raised over 1.2 billion rand from the private sector, and Formula One is coming. But 3 months ago, he came out and said that they weren't sure as to they underestimated the cost of Formula One. I loved what Lewis had to say yesterday about having an African Grand Prix. But the one thing that did trouble me, and I know he's a massive fan of South Africa as well, was South Africa wasn't his first choice. He basically went for Kenya as, I think, just as a destination of Africa. But his big one was Rwanda. And we know that Rwanda want to put in a huge bid. So I think our minister needs to make some serious decisions and try and get FOM and Formula One on his side, because we have the facility already. It's now a question of actually securing it. We were hoping for 2027, and at this stage, I think we'll be lucky if we get to 2029. And will Lewis Hamilton still be there? And that's what we want.
Those are the big questions that we mentioned in the introduction to this interview, just having a lot more questions than answers. Are you then going to put your head on the block, Lufefe, in terms of the season ahead, driver's title, constructor's title?
Talk about head on the block.
Yes.
It's too early to tell. But
this is why you're an analyst.
For me, I think McLaren will still be right up there. I mean, when we were looking on my phone, Oscar Piastri was quickest currently. So I'm going to give him the title. I feel like he should have won it last year. Bit of questionable things happened there.
Internally as well within the team.
Yes. So I will say he's my preseason favorite to win the title this year. What else do you want to know?
Okay, no, that's fine. Let's go to Sasha. Sasha, from your point of view, Constructors' Championship, Drivers' Championship, who do you foresee walking away with it?
I think Mercedes. I think George Russell, definitely a contender. I think Charles Leclerc's probably got some chance as well if they can really get ahead of the development curve. Lando Norris, Oscar, I think maybe Oscar Piastri, but Max Verstappen. In my opinion, George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen.
Can
Lewis
I just
Hamilton
add one thing?
No, we gave you a chance. Lewis must be sitting wherever he is and he's thinking everything in Mercedes is now amazing now that I've left. But that's where we'll leave it in terms of our Formula One interview. When we come to you in the next hour, we'll be talking all things golf. It is the Joburg Open.